It's time to talk Aggie football with the interim head coach of the Aggies, Nate Dreiling, on your exclusive home of Aggie football, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Coach, good morning.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
Losing, bad. Winning, obviously, much better. But at 38-21, you feel like you saw a few things you can build on at Temple as opposed to coming off the SC week, which was pretty tough.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We were going into the fourth quarter. We had the ball on the 30-yard line going in, down 7. So we played so much better and played to our identity. Now we just need to be able to finish games.
In listening to you after the game, you were highlighting the toughness. Is that the one thing that, or not just the one thing, but an important thing that you believe this team is growing in?
I don't know about growing. I think it just kept showing up more and more. You know, obviously when you're playing a team like Utah that wants to run the ball, that's going to be revealed every play whether you want it to or not. So it was a huge emphasis for us on offensive defensive line, and it showed up. Did a good job competing with those guys.
The Utes have historically been really good against the run, and there's a lot of expectations for what this group of linebackers and defensive linemen is going to do over the course of the season. The fact Faisana had 19 carries, 115 yards, 6 yards a pop, that looked like a major positive. Yeah,
he ran extremely tough. Hats off to the offensive line for consistently moving the Utah guys up front. So couldn't be more proud. We just got into too many second and third and longs, but the run game was on all night. That was awesome to see, so we need to keep that momentum moving forward.
You get involved in play calling, and you said in your post game, everything needs to go right. How does that affect you as far as what you want to see from the play calling standpoint? Because you can be conservative. You have maybe an opportunity at the end of the second quarter, but you decided to just go into halftime. But you don't want to be too crazy and take too many chances. How do you balance that when you are an underdog going against a team that is supposed to win?
Yeah, I mean, I think you throw the underdog thing out. You just look at how you're doing at that time with the time remaining. So there's, a minute and 35 seconds left. So we were in a pop or down mentality, which means if we could pop that first play, we would have went 2 minutes and see what happened. But the fact that we didn't, we were going to slow things down and get to half. So it's less to do with what the people think are going to happen in the game and more to do so of how the game's actually going.
I thought the passing game was a mixed bag. You certainly hit on some big plays to set up and then score the touchdowns that gave you that early 14-3 lead. There were also clearly some missed throws late in the game, missed opportunities. Maybe it was on the receiver. I mean, it looks like at the quarterback, but if the receiver goes to the wrong spot, that's it. How would you evaluate the passing game overall?
I think that kind of summed it up, missed opportunities. We had 2 interceptions, 1 in our own end zone, 2 missed field goals, and you lose by 17 points to the number 10 team in the country. So we need to be able to clean it up, consistently do it. But obviously, with Utah, there's pass rush coming. They got unbelievable guys on the back end. Number 5, the corner, was an incredible player. But we need to be able to finish plays. We're getting closer. We're just not there yet. And hopefully we can make another stride this week.
What will be your quarterback situation going in this game?
I believe Spencer will be back 100%, so hopefully we will have him available. But if not, Bryson has been, as you guys seen, for a long time, longer than I have, even competing his butt off and doing what it takes to will some wins.
I'm curious what you say to quarterbacks on some picks. You just know they shouldn't have thrown it, or they threw it late, they read it wrong. But that first pick in the end zone looked like it was going to be a touchdown, and then it's juggled around, and the defensive back makes a huge play and holds on to the ball. What, if anything, do you say after a play like that? You like taking those chances, or you got to protect the ball?
No, I think absolutely. It's a good throw right to Kyrie. It's just a great job by the back-end guy for Utah of getting that thing out while he was rolling in the end zone. So you get that, and you got a chance to go up 21-3, and it's a different story. But you can't just be what-ifs, right? You have to be able to finish plays and strain through the finish. So I don't think that's on the quarterback at all. We want to be aggressive, and now we just got to get that ball with the wide receiver.
Are there differences in play calling between the quarterbacks depending on who's out there?
With Bryson, he's more of a run threat, right? So we have way more QB run game. You know, we saw some stuff on like 3rd and 8 and 4th and 5 where we're able to run some type of option or triple option game. That's just hard to defend if they're in a pass call. With Spencer, it's more RPO tags using his arm and his brain. So I think it's nice. Once we get both of these guys rolling, teams will have to prepare for both, and they are totally different game plans.
What did you think of the way the defense played over this game? You talked a little about the competition and the toughness, but how well did they execute?
We're close. We gave up about 5 or 6 plays, a couple explosive passes. If you take away their long run, they averaged 3.8 yards per carry, which is a great job, but you can't do that, right? You can't just ignore plays. And we have to consistently do things to a higher level of detail. Until then, we're just going to give up explosives, and it's going to cost us points. So they competed hard. No one's ever going to argue about our toughness or our effort, right? But we just got to be able to clean up the little things to put a full game together.
You're in a unique situation being an interim coach. I'm wondering, with the news last week of some teams leaving the Mountain West, have you had any discussions with your administration about that?
Well, I think first and foremost, we want to play at the highest level, right? So we need to compete at the highest level, and that starts with on the field, our donors, our state money, and all that stuff, right? So I don't think we're not going to shy away that we want to be in one of these conferences, but we need to make sure that we're working and doing everything from on the field to a donor standpoint to a state standpoint to get there.
What I know about Temple is looking at final scores. I haven't had a chance to watch them at all. They are 0-3. They did play a 28-20 game with Coastal Carolina, which is the first time they've really been competitive. They got blown out by Oklahoma and Navy. How much film have you watched, and what do you know about your next opponent?
Well, they're better than their record, right? You just said it. Coastal Carolina is usually one of the best G5 schools in the country, and that came down to the wire. So they're a team that plays hard. You know, I think the best thing about this is we just got done playing back-to-back teams who are favored to get in the college football playoffs, and now we're playing more of a G5 type team. So we need to be able to bring that same intensity we did versus Utah, right, and put it on and try to get after these guys. But as always, it's never about the opponent, right? It's how can we make a big step and how can we keep improving ourselves.
Well, Coach, we'll be watching this week, see if we can get that win against Temple and get back to 2-2. Thanks for joining us for a few minutes. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
There's Nate Dreiling, Utah State's interim head coach, join us here on The Zone. Temple seems like a huge opportunity for the Aggies. One they'd better cash in on, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a road game, right?
It is.
So there's something involved there. But, they've had 2 teams that they weren't expected to win. They didn't. But the good thing for them is they showed improvement. Now, it's a different opponent, but nevertheless, the team, as Nate says, it's about themselves rather than the opponent. And they certainly, obviously, showed improvement in terms of being competitive from one week to the next.
Want to take a shot at this point spread, or Temple is too much of a mystery?
Temple is a mystery for Utah State. I'd say 11.3.
11.3. Intriguing. Utah State by 6. 6-point favorite going into this. Which, if you look at their schedule and do the math, if they're going to get a winning season and be bowl eligible, they better go get this one. You learn anything new about them, or are they pretty much who you thought they were? I mean, not having Petrus out there, the Aggies against the Utes. No, I'm pretty sure you didn't watch the Coastal Carolina game.
Yeah, I'm saying that they were competitive. I already said it, that they showed some toughness, and they stayed there. I mean, they were outmanned. I think eventually they got worn down and all that type of stuff. But, they gave it a valiant effort, and when you're the difference between a top 10 program, 15, top 5, whatever the Utes end up being, and them, it's decent gap there, but yet the game was competitive for much of the game. I mean, I think from the Utah State perspective, that's about all you can ask for.